Greetings, folks, and welcome back to the Plant Wisdom Collective. I'm Guido Masé, and I'll be your guide, and I'm particularly excited today because I get to share with you 10 of my favorite herbal remedies. These are amazing medicinal plants, well, 9 medicinal plants and 1 mushroom, that I truly believe everyone should have in their herbal cabinet, their kitchen cabinet, or maybe both. These are herbs that can be brought in on a daily basis for their supportive qualities and which make a great introduction to the benefits and wisdom of herbal medicine writ large. Throughout history, herbalists who have turned to these plants have referred to them as allies. And I really love that word, partly because I think words are important. And when I refer to herbs as allies rather than remedies or things or commodities, it reminds me that we're working with living beings here, and that these living beings have an agency and a consciousness of their own. As we walk through life, as we experience the challenges we experience as living human beings, everyone needs a good ally once in a while. And that's where I really think these herbs can shine, having our back and helping us work better and more effectively. So I'd love to explore these 10 herbal allies with you. We'll look at nettle, the nourishing herb, chamomile, the soothing flower, dandelion, the detoxifier, ginger, the warming root, hawthorne, the gentle guardian of the heart, echinacea, the immune zoomer, lemon balm, the herb of peace and joy, reishi mushroom, the mushroom of immortality, peppermint, the cooling, refreshing herb, and red raspberry, the women's herb. So join me as we explore these herbal allies together and learn about how to prepare them, how to know what good quality stuff looks like, and most importantly, what kind of benefits you can experience when you bring these allies into your life. I want to talk with you a little bit about nettle. Nettle is a nutritional powerhouse. It's packed with important nutrients, vitamins, and minerals, and is also rich in compounds known as polyphenols. Now, while this herb is often dismissed as a stinging weed, its incredible nutritive ability, plus its benefits, make it a staple in every herbalist's closet. Good quality stinging nettle is deep green. It smells almost earthy and rich. Various species of nettle grow all around the globe, though its use has been popularized in herbal medicine primarily through the European tradition. I remember as a kid, my first introduction to nettle was on a trail walking back home with my dad, and he pointed it out to me, and as I brushed up against it, I felt the sting. And he said, well, yeah, that's nettle. And it's the same herb that your nonna uses when she makes soups. And I kept thinking, how is it that my grandmother somehow magically takes the sting out of this herb when she cooked it? It's really fascinating to me. Later, many years later, working in East Africa in Tanzania, I came across an incredible species of nettle that's over 8 feet tall and has stinging hairs on it that are about 2 inches long. It's those stinging hairs that get you when you brush up against the plant. But what I learned, and what my nonna knew the whole time, is that when you dry or you cook or you mash up the leaves of nettle, those stinging hairs are destroyed and all of its stinging power is deactivated. Within those leaves are all those important nutritional compounds we talked about, but also botanical phytochemicals known as polyphenols, which may help contribute to some of nettle's important medicinal benefits. These include, first and foremost, its ability to help us remove excess fluid through the kidneys and through the urinary tract, and also provides support for our joints and connective tissue, especially when taken regularly. These are some of the most important benefits associated with nettles. But one of the things that I remember from when I was a kid, and one of the ways I most value using nettles in the herbal clinic, is as a sort of springtime renewal and detoxifying herb. Often during the spring, when nettles are first showing themselves coming up out of the ground, herbalists will turn to this plant to aid in maintaining clear sinuses and also in helping to support those natural detoxification processes that occur every day through our kidneys and urinary tract. And if once in a while folks feel like they're retaining a little bit of fluid, some temporary water weight gain, which often can happen after the sedentary months of winter, people will turn to stinging nettle as a tea, as an extract, or like my grandmother did, just cooked in soups and stews. There's many, many ways to enjoy nettle. Perhaps the most traditional is, again, just as a vegetable, like spinach cooked in soup. But right up there, a very traditional preparation is using nettle as a tea. It infuses really easily, and it makes a very nice, earthy, full beverage to take. You can enjoy nettle any time of year, but it's particularly indicated as a spring tonic. But again, for its benefits in the kidneys and urinary tract, or for its support of joints and connective tissue, you can turn to nettle any day of the year. Whether you're drinking tea or using nettle in soup, just remember to dry or cook it, especially if you're using fresh leaves. That way the stinging hairs are deactivated and it is fantastic to consume. Let's talk a little bit about chamomile. Chamomile is a beloved herb and also pretty well known. It's used to soothe the belly and digestion, and also as an herb to just gently support relaxation. I think those two things actually go hand in hand. Another feature that I really love about chamomile is its beautiful and very recognizable flower. It has a sunny yellow center and beautiful white petals all around it. And it makes an incredible, incredible tea. Chamomile's flowers are loaded with aromatic volatile oils that we think are part of the reason why it helps soothe and relax the belly, and also promote that sense of relaxation, especially later in the day. Chamomile also contains polyphenolic compounds known as flavonoids that further reinforce its soothing effect, especially on the tissue of the GI tract. You can enjoy a cup of chamomile tea in the evening to support relaxation and set the stage for a great night's sleep. Or you can use it after eating to kind of soothe and relax the belly, or anytime your digestion needs a little bit of support and relaxing comfort. Again, the soothing quality that chamomile exhibits on the lining of our GI tract, coupled with its gentle, relaxing effect, make it perfect, particularly when you feel a little bit of tension or discomfort in the belly once in a while. What you'll notice when you steep chamomile tea is that you can brew it for just 4 or 5 minutes if you want and begin to get some of that aromatic quality. But if you steep it for sort of the full 10 minutes, the tea will get a little more bitter as you go. And that bitterness, which is an indicator of the polyphenolic flavonoids that are present in there, is actually part of the good stuff. So if you let the chamomile steep a little bit longer, you'll get the full suite of benefits that this incredible herb provides. Notice the aroma as the tea steeps. It should be floral, slightly buttery, definitely fragrant. This is another important indication that you have good quality chamomile. While there are a lot of different preparations that you can see with chamomile, tea is by far the most popular and I think one of the most pleasant to take. So you can turn to a cup of chamomile tea anytime, whether you need that gentle sense of relaxation or you want to just provide a little bit of a soothing effect to the belly. What an incredible soothing flower, golden and beautiful, an herb that should be in everyone's kitchen and herbal cabinet. Let's talk a little bit about ginger. Ginger is an incredible warming root that's actually featured in the herbal traditions of many, many places all around the world. You'll see it used across Ayurveda from the Indian subcontinent. It's a standard in traditional Chinese medicine, and it features as sort of a keystone herb in the jamu system of Indonesia. All throughout the world, though, no matter where you are, ginger features in culinary preparations because of its delightful flavor, the spicy, pungent quality that it has, and the way that it lends interest and intensity to almost any food that it's added to. Ginger preparations are used primarily for their incredible effects on digestion. So ginger has been relied on not just to sort of stimulate digestive function with its pungency that inspires the production of digestive juices, but also to relieve nausea, whether it's associated with mild morning sickness of pregnancy, or whether it's associated with things like motion sickness. Ginger can really provide relief. It does this in part because of the pungent compounds it contains. These are gingerols and shogaols. You can feel them as spiciness on your tongue, and they encourage the movement of food from the stomach on down through the GI tract so that it keeps flowing, right? And that can be so helpful, again, when people experience a little occasional digestive discomfort or they have that little bit of a feeling of nausea. You can enjoy ginger in a variety of ways. You can get it from the produce department, and you can use it in smoothies or juices. You can add it to culinary creations, various different types, and it makes a fantastic tea. In herb stores, or if you purchase a tea bag, you can find ginger's root, which is technically a rhizome, right? An underground surface from which little rootlets come, cut up into little chunks that make it very useful and able to be infused well into tea. If you use fresh ginger rhizome, just slice it very thin before you brew your tea. And you'll notice not only the pungency, but also the unique aroma and smell of ginger. You want it to have a little spice when you taste it or when you taste the tea, and you want that aromatic quality, that distinctive ginger personality to come through. Those are signs that you've got good quality material. You can even enjoy ginger candied and crystallized as a gentle treat, which also helps support digestion and relieve occasional nausea. So ginger is a fantastic and versatile herb that you can turn to in many different ways when you want to support your digestive health. One of my favorite preparations with ginger is the ginger compress. And it's very simple to make. And you can apply it to the body for feeling of warmth and comfort, and to support circulation to those areas of the body that might need it. All you have to do is brew a cup of ginger tea and then soak a clean cloth in there, wring it out, wait a second so it's not super hot, and then apply it to the area of your body that needs a little bit of support. One other property of ginger that I'd like to mention is that pungency and that warmth that you feel, they don't just provide comfort to the digestive tract, they also can support healthy circulation and a feeling of warmth and comfort throughout your whole body. Let's talk a little bit about Echinacea. Echinacea is an herb that actually comprises multiple different species, Echinacea purpurea, angustifolia, and many others. They're all used medicinally. This herb comes to us from the Native American herbal tradition, where it's been used for a very long time. In the 20th century, this herb caught the attention of German researchers who began to investigate its properties and brought it into use in the European tradition as well. It's a good example of how herbal medicine sort of travels the planet, but it's also really important to remember and acknowledge that the traditional uses of this plant from indigenous Native American peoples are what really brought this herb into common usage and knowledge. Really, really grateful for that. Echinacea's used both as leaf and flower and also as a root. All of the parts of the plant, in fact, including the seeds, can be considered medicinal. And its primary benefit is around boosting immune function, particularly when you need it most. So Echinacea, whether it's the root, the leaves and flowers, or the seed, stimulates the immune system and kind of brings it into the supportive place that it needs to be. So Echinacea is a really useful ally for folks who are in crowded situations, or maybe when you're about to travel on a long trip, anywhere where you feel you need that little bit of extra juice to the immune system. You want it to zoom up a little bit. When you're looking for Echinacea preparations, there are a range of important chemical compounds that contribute to sort of that immune stimulating effect that the herb has. But one of them that is most interesting is a class of pungent compounds known as alkylamides. You can detect these as almost a peppery flavor or maybe a gentle tingle once in a while. That's a sign of good quality Echinacea. And whether it's the root, or the leaves and flowers, or the seed, can give you a sense that you're going to get those immune supportive qualities that we love from this herb. You can find Echinacea in tea form. You can find it in whole herb form like this, the root. And you can also often find it in liquid extract form, where little dropper bottles that contain an extract of the root or the leaves can be used to deliver the benefits in sort of an easy and convenient way. But whichever preparation you're looking to take, it's best to use Echinacea consistently for at least 3 or 4 days when you really feel the need. This is a little bit different from some of the allies we've been talking about in the sense that Echinacea is perhaps the most short-term usage plant out of all of the ones we'll explore together. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have it as part of your herbal toolkit. Echinacea is fantastic for immune support as a tea, gives great hydration when you consume it that way, and is fantastic to turn to really when you need it most, when you need that boost to your immune system. All right, let's talk a little bit about dandelion. Dandelion is an incredible and versatile plant and also iconic, right? Iconic. The beautiful yellow flowers, the very characteristic sort of toothed leaves. All of these sort of awaken our memories of childhood and remind us that sometimes it's the most common and weedy plants that actually make the most valuable and important allies. So all parts of the dandelion can be used medicinally. What I'm brewing right now into tea is a little bit of dandelion root. Its long taproot extends from the surface of the ground downward and is one of the most important medicinal parts of this plant. But you can also use the leaves, which we'll talk about a little bit, both as a spring tonic and as an excellent way to support the health of your kidneys and urinary tract. And even the flowers, of course, are edible and traditionally combined with batter and made into fritters or cakes as a springtime food. The European herbal tradition relies on dandelion, but you can find this important medicinal plant throughout the herbal traditions where it's found natively. It's definitely used in traditional Chinese medicine, and its benefits are very similar to the ones you see in herbal medicine. Dandelion helps assist digestive function, particularly the root, and aids in detoxification through the liver, supporting our body's natural processes to help remove unwanted material from our system. So the root in particular is what herbalists classify as a bitter tonic, and that's what I've brewed into tea here. Bitter herbs, and you can taste it right away when you put them on your tongue, stimulate the production of digestive juices, from saliva to all of the important enzymes that we find throughout our GI tract. This helps us break down and absorb our food with less drama, right? And that's why digestion is so supported by the dandelion root. But it also goes further by stimulating the production and release of bile from the liver. Bile is a really important natural secretion of our bodies that helps us absorb food, particularly fats and nutrients that are important to our body, but also helps us eliminate unwanted material. Again, through the liver's production of bile, we can rid the body of unwanted stuff from the food we eat or material that our body produces and needs to get rid of on a daily basis. That's why we call dandelion root the detoxifier. It really helps when taken regularly. Now, if you're looking at the leaf, which can be consumed alongside the root, or which you can make into salads or brew into a tea on its own, the leaf is really valued for its ability to help with the kidneys and urinary tract. So again, dandelion leaf helps assist daily detoxification by supporting the removal of fluid through the kidneys and urinary tract. This can also help with occasional water weight gain and things like that, because again, getting that fluid out of the body helps keep that flow moving through the system. I remember going out with my Aunt Rita and cutting those dandelion crowns in the spring right out of the ground. We'd bring them home, we'd dress them with a little salt and olive oil, and then just eat them as a crunchy, delicious springtime salad. So remember, you can enjoy dandelion and have its supportive qualities enter your life in a lot of ways. The root for digestion and detoxification through the liver, the leaves for their ability to support a removal of fluid through the kidneys, and also just because they're a great sort of vegetable and salad green. Dandelion is a common plant. It's a weedy plant that people sort of malign or poo-poo fairly regularly, but as herbalists, we really love it. It's the icon of what herbalism is about. Common, accessible, weedy, and potent. Okay, let's talk about hawthorn, one of my favorite herbs. This is actually a tree. In Italian, it's known as biancospino, or the white thorn. The leaves and flowers, the flowers are bright in the month of May, are an important medicinal part, but the fruit is also used. This berry ripens in the fall in September and October and is an important food for birds, but it's also a really important medicinal plant for us. Hawthorn can be thought of as a gentle guardian of the heart. It's been used to support cardiovascular health and healthy circulation for hundreds of years, particularly in Europe, although traditional Chinese medicine employs hawthorn as well. The benefits of hawthorn may stem in part from important polyphenols that are found both in the leaves and flowers and also in the fruit. The polyphenols found in the fruit are known as anthocyanins, and modern research is showing us that they help support the health of our heart muscle and also of our blood vessels, thereby making hawthorn an incredible overall tonic for cardiovascular health and well-being and the overall vitality of our circulation. But beyond its impact on the heart muscle and the blood vessels and capillaries that exist throughout our entire body, hawthorn has always also been thought to kind of have an impact on what we might call the metaphysical heart. A sense of open-heartedness, of conviviality, of sharing companionship has always been associated with this incredible herb. In fact, in the monastic tradition of Europe, cordials, which come from the old Latin word cor cordis, which means heart, were shared for weary travelers or other folks as a token of hospitality, not just to provide them something delicious to enjoy, but to open up their heart, support their circulation, and encourage that sense of being together, right? And spending time enjoying each other's company. I really love hawthorn for that, not just supporting the heart, but also encouraging open-heartedness. So the beautiful color you see here that comes a little bit from the hawthorn berries is really that pigment, the anthocyanin, that gives the berries their color. And as the fruit matures in September, that pigment, which is also a big part of hawthorn's medicinal effects, is a signal for birds that the fruit is ripe and ready to eat. This all makes sense from an ecological perspective because hawthorn gets its seeds spread when they're ready to go and the birds get the fruit that they need. But it makes me think just a little further when recognizing how important those pigments are in terms of providing medicinal benefits. Hawthorn may actually be a tangible example of how medicinal plants take care of us, how they have our backs. A pigment that is a signal for ripeness goes further, and when it gets into our bodies, supports the health of all of the blood vessels in our body's internal ecology. And so over the years, hawthorn helps support our health so that we continue to support the ecology's health together. This is a great example, I think, how herbs provide us with immediate tangible benefits. In the case of hawthorn, this amazing gentle guarding of our heart, but also connect us to the ecology and to this stream of important chemistry that literally has our back and cares for us. Let's talk a little bit about lemon balm. Lemon balm is an easy and very rewarding garden plant. She's been used for hundreds of years, particularly in the European tradition, for its relaxing and also gently uplifting qualities. Lemon balm has a little bit of both. She's a little bit like a ray of sunshine in the garden with her delightful lemony scent, and can also help bring a little bit of that sunshine into our hearts. Though lemon balm features a lot in European medicine, because this herb grows so well, you also see it referenced often in Ayurveda and also in the system of medicine that was popularized in Persia, in the Middle East, and to a certain extent in Greece, known as Unani. And lemon balm is beloved in all those traditions for its relaxing qualities that can help soothe away occasional stress, and also for its uplifting, sort of heart gladdening effect. The whole herb, especially when fresh, but also when it's dry, has a delightful, characteristic lemony scent that you should really clearly be able to detect, especially when you crush the herb a little bit between your hands. That lemony scent is part of what makes it so delightfully relaxing and aromatic. People turn to lemon balm, of course, for gentle relaxation, maybe at the end of the day to help set the stage for restful sleep. But it also, because of the volatile oils it contains, has an incredible ability to soothe and relax the muscles that are present in our GI tract, all throughout our digestive system. And as a result, folks often turn to a cup of lemon balm tea when stress, and it comes up once in a while, impacts the digestive system. You might feel something like butterflies in the stomach. If that's what happens to you when you feel stress once in a while, then lemon balm is a fantastic choice because it helps relieve that occasional stressful feeling and also relaxes, soothes, and provides benefit to our digestive system too. During the times of the Roman Empire, farmers and physicians noted a curious phenomenon. When bees would swarm and they'd leave the hive looking for a new place, if folks took lemon balm leaves and rubbed them on the hive, bees would calm down, relax, follow the queen into their new home. This might be part of the reason how lemon balm got its name, Melissa. Its botanical Latin name, Melissa officinalis, refers back to this connection to honeybees. Melissa, of course, meaning the one of the bees or the one of the honey. Modern research examining the overall effects of lemon balm, including its volatile oils, but also phenolic compounds contained in the leaf, reinforces the idea that this is a fantastic herbal ally for frazzled nerves and for occasional stress. But remember, we can also turn to lemon balm to soothe feelings of twist or discomfort or bloating when they come up once in a while in our digestion, especially if they're connected to stress. And you can enjoy lemon balm in a variety of ways. Sometimes folks will take liquid extracts or they'll use a capsule, and that's fine. But honestly, my favorite way is as a warm tea, partly because that feeling of warmth is also really relaxing. And taking 5 minutes out of your day, right, to sip on a cup of tea, in and of itself, provides that sort of time out of mind, that space away from the stressors and the frazzledness of the day. Sipping that lemon balm, feeling the sunshine that's almost embodied in this citrusy aromatic herb, letting it settle into your belly and relieve those frazzled nerves. I can't think of a more pleasant and delightful way to enjoy the benefits of herbal medicine. Okay, reishi mushroom, you all. This is an incredible ally. Its use comes primarily from traditional Chinese medicine, where this mushroom is known to bring vitality, longevity, and resilience in the face of life's challenges. And that might be why in Chinese medicine they call it the mushroom of immortality. Now, because reishi is a mushroom, it feeds on dead and decaying logs. And eventually, when its mycelium becomes strong enough, sends out these incredible red fruiting bodies that are glossy out of the decaying trunk of the wood. It's these parts that we tend to use medicinally, the fruiting bodies. And if you're looking around in herb shops or online, you'll often find it sold in slices. That's because reishi mushroom is pretty fibrous, not like button mushrooms or other ones you might eat. And having it pre-sliced in these thin slices makes it a whole lot easier to use. The benefits that you see associated with reishi, particularly in traditional Chinese medicine, relate to its impact on our immune system, where it acts as a long-term immune tonic. But now we also classify reishi as an adaptogen, meaning a class of herbal remedies that help us adapt and even thrive in the face of occasional stress. Because reishi has to navigate its way through all this dead and decaying wood as it grows, it has to secrete a range of bioactive compounds, in part to protect its mycelium, those delicate tendril structures that are the true body of the mushroom, from bacteria and other incursions. And as a result, reishi secretes and produces a range of important compounds, from polysaccharides to medicinally active triterpenes, that we think are at least in part the reason why it's so effective at supporting our immune health. Reishi's impact on occasional stress is due in part to the ability of these compounds to modulate our stress response, which is the way a lot of adaptogens work. It almost sets an upper and lower limit to our stress response so that when stress comes into our lives once in a while, we can navigate it with a little more grace and balance and also recover more quickly. Furthermore, the polysaccharides that are found in the fruiting body of the mushroom and also throughout the mycelium are thought to be part of the way this herb speaks to our immune system and modulates immune function. Now, it's a little bit different from an ally like Echinacea, which sort of boosts immunity in the short term when you need it most. Reishi is an herb that, as a tonic, is taken long term on a daily basis to support overall stress response and overall immune resilience. One of my favorite stories of reishi comes from traditional Chinese medicine, where it's rumored that long ago, a princess was able to use the powers of this mushroom to return her lover back to life after he was killed by a malevolent spirit. And now, while I cannot vouch for any of those specific effects, I do know that with habitual ongoing use, reishi can support our overall sense of vitality and, of course, a graceful response to stress in the crazy modern world in which we live. We also turn to reishi for that all-important immune support, which goes hand in glove with our stress response, right? By modulating the effect of occasional stress, we also can help support immune function. You can enjoy reishi in a lot of different ways. Now, because it's so fibrous and woody, it's not really good to cook with, the way you might shiitake mushrooms, for instance. But you can add reishi slices to bone broth or to vegetable stock and just simmer them away along with the onions and garlic and carrots that you're using to make your broth. You can certainly find excellent reishi extracts, and you can brew them into tea as well. However, because it's traditionally simmered, you'll want to look for teas where the reishi mushroom is already extracted. And that provides all of that medicinal benefit, all those triterpenoids and polysaccharide compounds into the cup of tea. All right, let's talk about peppermint. Peppermint is another very famous and recognizable herb. It has a unique and clearly minty aroma and a cooling quality. You can smell it as soon as the tea starts brewing. And really, when I think of peppermint and I smell that aroma, I can just imagine these fields in the morning light releasing this incredible minty fragrance, attracting their pollinators, just shining in the morning sun. Peppermint is an amazing, very generous, refreshing herb. Because peppermint is so aromatic, and this goes in general when you're brewing herbal tea, it's important to cover the tea while you're steeping. That way, that minty aroma, which is carried by the volatile oils found in peppermint and includes important medicinal substances like menthol, they're all trapped and captured and they stay in the tea. So especially for aromatic, fragrant herbs, but for most teas in general, if you're brewing them at home, put a lid on top while it's brewing and let it steep for about 10 minutes, and then you'll have an amazing cup of herbal tea. Peppermint is most known for its ability to support digestion, and it does this in kind of a specific way. Because of all those volatile oils, peppermint is able to act as an antispasmodic herb. What that means is that it can gently relax away occasional spasms, cramps, feelings of bloatedness or overfullness in the digestion. That makes peppermint a little bit different from pungent digestive herbs like ginger, which support secretions and relieve occasional nausea, or bitter tonic digestive herbs like dandelion, which again modulate the way our food moves through our body and stimulate digestive secretions. Peppermint is a little more of a relaxing, spasm-relieving herb that makes it fantastic for occasional gas and bloating. When looking for peppermint, you can tell good quality by both the color and the smell. Because those volatile oils are such an important part of peppermint's medicinal action, you really want to be able to have that classic menthol-rich, aromatic quality. And you also want to make sure the leaves are a good dark green color, nothing yellow or brown, but that aroma is really your primary indicator of good quality material. Peppermint is a fantastic ally to support digestion, and you can think of it particularly for that sort of overfull, bloated, pressured indigestion that comes up once in a while. One thing to note is that if you experience occasional heartburn, peppermint might not be the best choice. Think of more soothing herbs instead as an alternative. And that's partly because peppermint has that relaxing effect on tissues of the GI tract, and that can help relax the valve at the bottom of our throat, sometimes a little bit too much if you experience occasional heartburn. But if you're feeling overfull and you need relief from occasional gas and bloating, peppermint is the exact right herb to choose. It also has a gentle, relaxing effect on our intestinal tissue, so when you feel occasional cramping or spasm down there, peppermint will be right there to provide relief. You can consume it as a tea. Just remember to keep it covered. It's warming and delicious, and you can also find capsules and extracts of peppermint that are also effective at delivering its digestive benefits. One last thing about peppermint. It's a great plant to grow in the garden. It grows very well, almost too aggressively. Put it inside a container or a window box, or if you're planting it in your actual garden, make sure it's far away from other plants because it will spread aggressively and can sometimes take over. But it will reward you with many, many cuttings of its fragrant, delicious leaves. Friends, we come to raspberry leaf. This herb, which comes from the common raspberry plant, you know, those fruits we love, the leaves of that plant have been valued for centuries as a supportive, nourishing, and tonic herb. Raspberry's primarily been connected to the health and well-being of women's bodies, and it's got this nourishing, supportive quality that can be valuable through all stages of life. We primarily turn to raspberry leaf as a supportive tonic herb to help with menstrual health, and also during pregnancy, particularly in the last month or two of pregnancy, to help prepare for childbirth and help throughout the process of labor and delivery. Raspberry leaves are rich in compounds known as tannins, which have an astringent effect and action. What that means, if you've ever had overbrewed black tea, that feeling you experience in your mouth, that's astringency. And raspberry, when prepared into a tea, it's not as intense as overbrewed black tea, but it has a similar effect, and that comes from its tannins. Those may be in part, along with polyphenols like flavonoids that are also abundant in raspberry leaf, of how this herb helps support and prepare the tissues of the uterus for things like labor and delivery at the end of pregnancy. And that may be part of the reason why raspberry leaf tea was always considered a valuable ally to prepare the body for labor and delivery. But even at other times in life, raspberry leaf is an important ally, for instance, in menstrual health. Folks will drink raspberry leaf tea throughout their cycle to help support a healthy, balanced menstrual cycle, and also drink it during times when they might experience, normal mild menstrual cramps, because raspberry leaf can provide a little bit of relief in those particular cases. You can find raspberry in a lot of different forms. Nowadays, you can even find capsules. You can certainly chew on the leaves right off of the plant, though I wouldn't say that's the tastiest experience. By far, the best way to consume raspberry is infused into simple tea. And it delivers all of that important chemistry that you can then take into your body for the supportive effects that raspberry can provide. You can take the tea daily as a great supportive ally or tonic, or you can turn to it when you need it most. For example, to help give a little bit of relief for occasional mild menstrual cramps. Well, friends, I hope you've enjoyed our exploration of 10 of my favorite herbal allies. These are literally friends that you can bring into your life for their supportive effects and also to give you relief when you need it most. As you've seen, they can help support our digestive health, our mood, our response to occasional stress, the health of our heart and blood vessels. The range of benefits from these allies is very wide. And that's the reason why I really encourage you to start getting into exploring these herbs. As we've said before, herbalism is an embodied art, meaning I can talk to you all about these allies, we can explore them and read books about them, but that pales in comparison to the knowledge you will gain by actually taking them into your bodies, by experiencing them yourself. When that interface between your system and the living system of this medicinal herbs chemistry interact, that's when this sort of deep knowledge that transcends our intellectual understanding is able to manifest. And so I encourage you to think about maybe one or two or more of the allies that have caught your attention throughout this video. Find a source of good quality material. Look at its color, smell it, experience it. Make sure that that vibrancy is there. And then consider, one by one, exploring that individual herbal ally for 3, 4 days, maybe even a week or two, taking it consistently on a daily basis. Everybody is different, and so the effects that you might notice could be a little different from the effects that I notice or someone else in our community has experienced. So please, I encourage you to share what the allies have done for you and how they've shown up in your life when you start engaging with them and that embodied knowledge begins to grow inside of you. So thank you again for joining us as part of the Plant Wisdom Collective. I hope you found something that you can bring into your life in a real and practical sense to share for yourself and also for the people you love. Please reach out to us with questions and share your experiences with the Plant Wisdom Collective. This is Guido signing off, reminding you that we always do better with plants by our side, and keep your heart open to the green world.